Before I get into these great books by Don Kilam, $1 million worth of game, okay, right here. I'm talking to you though. I'm talking to you. Listen, anytime you issue credit, don't you go to the store, debit or credit. Think about it. A debit is a negative, credit is a positive. So anytime you give them a credit, credit means loan. You can't get credit without your social. You got the card right in your hand, credit. You just claim the interest. You're giving the store a loan. There's no money in America. It's fiat currency, Federal Reserve note. Every Federal Reserve note out here is a loan to the public. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So anytime you issue credit, you're giving them a loan, you gotta learn how to claim it. If you know that Social Security is a trust, why are you still claiming that you're an individual on them forms? Shouldn't you be claiming it as a trust? Just think about that. $1 million worth of game, can't touch this, part of the same collection. Go to Amazon and get this. You see how thick this is. Everybody claims they want redemption, remedy. Well, learn the game. This is the true redemption manual right here. Can't Touch This by Don Kilam. Teach you about true redemption in commerce, okay? Everything's in commerce. Everything is commercial. But if you're new to the game, $1 million worth of game by Don Kilam. I'm a living example. As simple as that. Learn more about your boy. Support the craft. Hip hop, entertainment. That's where we're coming next. So support it. Much peace and love.
Peace and love, peace and love. You're now rocking to the sounds and vibrations of your boy, Don Kilam, also known as Malik Kalam. And as always, prosperity is your divine birthright. Check this out, man. I'm sponsored by DJT today, man. Got thing on water, man. Got thing on water. Got thing on water. But lucky for y'all, I live that private life. So I might go get a sticker that say I voted. Well, I'm not voting. I'm gonna tell you, man, they handing out old 20s, man. That's old money right there, man. That's old money, man. And quit judging people by the clothes that they wear, okay? But shout out to the next president, man. Let me take this off stuff. Let me get my hair right. So y'all can recognize me. It's your boy Don Kilam. It's Don Kilam, also known as Malik Kalam. As always, prosperity is your divine birthright. We're gonna call this Sunday school, class in session. School.com/Don Kilam. SKOOL.com/DONKILAM. Let's go though, man. I'm about to drop some game, man. Y'all gotta take notes. And just for future reference, it says comments. When you're on social media, it says comment. It don't say question. So when you understand words, comments and questions are two different things. You ask Google questions. Because Don Kilam gets paid for interviews. You understand? I'm just saying that's my status. I get paid for interviews. I'm not answering questions. So I just want to throw that out there for the public. Now, when you're dropping that consultation, we can schedule something, man, where you can ask Don Kilam questions. Or you can put me on your podcast. That's how that works. The public don't seem to understand. They like to be consumers. I need you to understand there's a difference between an investor and a consumer. When we're talking about consumer law, investors don't understand that. Investors don't understand consumer law. You understand? Because I need you to understand real law that you think is law, these codes, these statutes out here, they're set up to protect investors. You know? And a lot of people that even, I'm not a licensed attorney tax expert. I do this for educational and informational purposes only. Do got degrees though. But that's neither here nor there. Some call me doctor. Some call me doctor. But look, you're in a trust system already. You're in a trust system already. A lot of people, even when you're doing audits, that's not taking you to the securities because you're not running a forensic audit or a securitization audit. You know, you got to get with the brokers. You got to get with those type people, man. Even mortgage brokers, they can If they know what they're doing, they can type in the right QSIPs. They can get that information. You understand? You follow me? So, my main thing is to let everybody know you're already engaging with the trust system. You're already engaging with a trust system. Now, it's all about how to operate. I'm going to say this slow for people because y'all need to be taking notes. It's about learning how to operate in a tax-free position and handing down wealth tax-free. You can't hand down the Social Security number. That's what people think. I mean, listen, man, you're putting assets under a Social Security trust. When you're using that number, you're putting this asset, what we call them assets, your house. You know, if I have a house, I might sign it up to do HUD housing or Section 8. I'm not going to stay in Section 8 housing. I will learn how to create a Section 8 housing for somebody else to stay in it so I can get paid every month. That's how that works. And you can do that with no money down. You just got to know the right people, the right plays. All this is all on the internet for free. All you got to do is be YouTube and the right stuff. But and that's another thing, because if you knew what your job was when you're part of your tribe, part of your clan, they call it family, you know. My chief was like, we can't use that family word no more. But for the sake of this, for teaching, we can still call it family. But what is your job? What's your job within your tribe, within your clique? Where do you stand? Y'all not unified. Because if you knew what your job was, you knew what you need to be educated on. All right? Because the clique, the tribe, the family, whoever it may be, the clan, they're going to invest and make sure you get the right education to better your skills. Because that's what's part of being part of the family trust is. That's what being part of the clique is, being part of the tribe is. Everybody being the best that they can be. All right? But a lot of people don't understand this. You have to understand that your last name, that's the wealth. That's where the wealth lies. And a lot of people are still not understanding this. It's your last name. Your last name. When you talk about the Rockefellers, they don't talk about which Rockefeller it is. You know, same way with the Trumps, man. You know how many Trumps there are? You only know one of them. They're handing down legacies. They're handing down their last name. It's families. It's clans. It's tribes. That's the government. That's what rules the world. That's the ruling class. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's the name. Your name, your last name is the wealth. Your last name is the wealth. You have to understand that. So when you die, you can hand down your wealth publicly or privately. You understand? Because everybody knows, everybody says two things are for certain. You're going to die and pay taxes. Now, I'm going to tell you, one thing's for certain, you are going to die, but not necessarily have to pay taxes. Paying taxes is not for everyone. Taxes is for those who come from an uninformed family, them uninformed clans. That's part of the public circuit. That's part of the public sector. And I could back up these claims, man. I could back up these claims. So if you find this information valuable, you already know what to do. Leave a donation on the Cash App. The Cash App is Dream Keepers Radio. Dream Keepers Radio, DreamKeepersRadio. Dream Keepers Radio. You can sign up at the school.com/Don Kilam, SKOOL.com/DONKILAM. So when you understand the national debt, break down the United States national debt starting off. One must understand that the Social Security number, the Social Security Trust Fund, not the number, the Social Security Trust Fund owns a significant portion of the United States national debt. And a lot of people don't even understand. So when they're filing their taxes, they file on 1040 forms. That's making them an individual. That's getting away from the last name. You just change how you're handing down your legacy, how you're handing down your family's prosperity. Now your future offsprings will be dependents of a taxpayer. You know, when you should be in actuality, if you're going to file taxes with anybody, it should be with the 1041. If anything, if the Social Security is an actual trust, you know, you got to know the definitions. But I want to take y'all to the definition of public sector. Anything in the public belongs to the government. The public sector is the part of the economy that is controlled by the government, even public banking, all public banking. If you're going in banks, just using their information, just using their files and forms, and just going with the default, it's all public information. It all belongs to the government. That's what I want to throw out there first and foremost. That's something you have to understand. So when you die, you're handing down your wealth publicly if you're using a if you're using a social security number. And you cannot hand down a social security number for generational wealth. The social security number is not designed for generational wealth. What the public is designed for, when you really break it down, when you really take a look at the public sector, because the public, I'm showing you what the public sector is. It's the part of the economy that the government controls. Does everybody agree? I'm getting 100, fire emoji, something. Let me know that you're following along. All right. You have to know. This is for public and private, they say, you know. But listen, the public sector is designed because it's quid pro quo. Let's look this up real quick. In the private sector, the part of the economy that the government does not control, all right, is not run by the government. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. It's everything is, you know, I want to give you the right term. It's the act of doing something in exchange for something of equal value. If I put up something, if I put up money, then somebody else has to put something up for collateral. It's even. It's fair exchange. Quid pro quo. That's the private sector. All right. So the public sector is designed for the insurance. So the private always gets paid. I hope that makes sense. Let me get a 100 fire emoji something so y'all know that makes sense. So the public sector is designed for insurance to make sure that the private gets paid. That's the only thing the public is used for. It's an insurance policy. That's what the Social Security number is. The Social Security Trust. It's insurance. The old age and survivors insurance. Trust fund pays retirement, survivor benefits, and disability insurance. DI trust fund pays disability benefits. This is the Social Security Trust Fund. In our financial accounts in the U.S. Treasury, there are two separate Social Security trust funds: the Old Age and Survivors Insurance (OASI) and the Disability Insurance, the DI. Look it up. That's from the Social Security Administration itself. So I need you to understand that, because if you understand this, you might be able to make it in the private. We might be able to get somewhere in the private. You might even be able to get ahead in the private. But you got to understand this. You got to understand, you got to understand, you got to understand. The government set up the Social Security Trust, okay? It's the government, okay? It's a legislative act. So, Social Security Act 1935, Legislative Act, so it belongs to the government. You only control what you create. It's always going to benefit the government. The law created the Social Security program as well as insurance against unemployment. So when you sign up for certain forms with the government, you're using this number, it's always insurance for the government. So that's who's going to benefit from it. So you got to learn how to create your own things. That's all I'm saying. You got to learn how to create your own things. So if there's no trust, if there's no will, every asset that you have will be in a testate position and will go through something called probate, which is court. And that is the basis of the court system today. So the first key you have to understand of wealth is being in the correct tax position. You got to learn how to never receive income and funds directly. You create a separate, distinct entity. Now, the top elite, they strictly move in trust. But I want you to know, in the public, the pass-through entities, we are using corporations. We are using LLCs. We are using holding companies. But the top elite, they're strictly in trust. But wealthy families still create corporate structures, all right? But the first thing that you must understand is a family trust. A trust for the tribe, a trust for the family, a trust for the church. However you want to look at your family, however you want to look at your clique, however you want to look at your clan, your congregation, your assembly, all right? Because individuals cannot hand down wealth. An individual cannot hand down wealth. It's the last name. It's the family, all right? A trust is just like a person, except it cannot vote. A trust can do everything a person can do except vote. We're holding down, these old school 20s, man. Let's go. So there's different types of trusts, and this is why you need to invest in your private education. There's over 100 different type of trusts, and that's why you need to invest in your private education with informed families. All right. Your last name is the asset, starting off in everything. That's who you work for. That's the grantor of the trust. They say, who's the grantor of the trust? You get to respond to family. You work for the family. And the public, they don't teach you the importance of your last name. And as simple as that, they take it. There has to be people appointed to take over family expenses, such as bills. All right. Your family looks at them as bills. They look at them as liabilities. When you have a family trust together, you're gonna look at those as deductibles. That's the difference between a unified family, an informed family, and an uninformed family. That's the difference between a slavery mindset and a sovereign mindset, and an entrepreneur mindset, and having that business mindset. They're no longer bills, they're deductibles. Your whole life is a deductible because you have to have the best to work for the family. You gotta understand, Warren Buffett works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You know, they're part of foundations. That mansion is for the board members of the nonprofit, goddamn it, of the foundation. That's a charitable house. You understand? The private jets, those are trips. Those are the family business trips. That's a business trip. That's deductible. He got to get around in the best. Got to have the best clothes. You work for the family. It's not about you. It's about the family. Families hold wealth. Families hand down wealth. So once you're in the correct tax position, you can protect your assets with the trust. I got an event coming up in Las Vegas. People VIP, text private life to 480-573-4879. I'm gonna show you the cheapest routes, and then when you have money. Because I'm telling you, you can get dual nationality for as little as $250. Dual nationality, whole different country. Dual nationality. You can set up trust and offshore trust, offshore corporations, and have people set them up and be your agent, your fiduciary for little as $1,000, and you'll be in a great tax position. You know, I could show people how to do it on a budget, and then I could show people to go full steam ahead. You know, drop 15,000, 20,000. How to set it up correctly in places like the Cook Islands, you know. But you want to tap in, you want to come in, VIP is going to learn this. September 28th. September 28th, I have a private meeting, just a handful of us, man. A couple handfuls. I'm going to teach the game. Now, September 27th, Las Vegas, that's going to be open to everybody. Man, it's gonna be on a pop in Las Vegas. We're gonna have we having a private life takeover, man. I'm gonna have some big names in the building, man. I just want to throw that out there. So text private life to 480-573-4879 or sign up for the school to learn more. I actually got it in the school if I can find it. I'll show y'all a little flyer. It's going down though. It's going down. I don't want to let's get back to the topic, man. Now, you have your right to contract. Private attorneys know how to administer a law, but they do not know, but that doesn't mean that they don't need their power from the state. So private attorneys don't need their power from the state from the state. Public attorneys do. So when public attorneys only can hand down codes and statutes within the state. So I just want to make sure y'all understand that. Now, if you're new to this, look up some case, not some case law. Go look up some federal codes, 28 USC. You'll see court means any court created by Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. This is 28 USC 3002, subsection 2, definition of court. Definition of debt. Debt means an amount that's owing to the United States. I got some, y'all got to write this down. I'm trying to tell you. Debtor means a person who's liable for a debt. Person means corporation still under subsection 10. When you go down to 15, United States means federal corporation. So you understand it's all business. Now look, when you look up 15 USC 14E1, I'm going to say this again. 15 USC 4724E1. United States business means a United States citizen. United States business means a United States citizen. I cannot make this up. It also means a foreign corporation. A foreign corporation, including the District of Columbia. That's deep. I take everybody to 8 USC 1408 nationals, but not citizens of the United States, so you can learn how to be a national instead of a United States citizen, show you how to maneuver differently. And then how you can go to the Department of State, U.S. Department of State, their website, and go and get a certificate of non-citizen nationality. Certificates of non-citizen nationality. I'm not going to get deep on that today, though. Understand what a tax is. To impose a tax is to enact or declare a contribution. So they're saying when you pay a tax, that's a gift. Now, I said the estate planning bypasses probate when you have a trust or will. Both revocable and irrevocable trusts ensure assets go to beneficiaries without having them to endure a long, expensive, and public process of court. Social Security trust funds are financial accounts in U.S. Treasury. That's right there on ssa.gov. They are two separate Social Security trust funds. The Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund pays retirement and survivor benefits and disability insurance. Now, I want y'all to know, when you're using this trust, the Social Security number, that's called Sesta K Values. Sesta K Values. And this makes you a beneficiary of a trust or insurance policy. So when you're using, the only thing you can be is the beneficiary of this number, because the administration, the Social Security Administration, has made the government the trustees. And when you're in a beneficiary position, you have no power, you have no say. And that's what's going on. This is why the people think that the government's in control, because you keep identifying with a birth certificate. You keep identifying with an ID. You keep identifying with a Social Security number. That's putting you in 60K values. When these people say, I authenticated my birth certificate, that's putting you in 60K values. Sets decay values. The beneficiary of a trust or an insurance policy. Beneficiaries hold no power. A trustee is a person or an entity responsible for and with the authority for managing and administering your trust according to your instructions in accordance with state law. They are considered a fiduciary, meaning they are held to a higher standard of care and owe certain duties to the beneficiary. This is a legislative act. It was created for the government. The only thing they can do is benefit the government, the people who created it. They created it to benefit them. That's why I need y'all to understand.
We'll be back after a quick break.
In a world where the tax system can seem overwhelming, one book is here to guide you towards financial empowerment. Introducing The Capitalizing Namepreneur, Unleashing the Power of Tax Credits by best-selling author Don Kilam. Are you looking to demystify the complexities of taxes and harness the power of tax credits? The Capitalizing Namepreneur provides an understanding of effectively utilizing your tax credits. Discover the secrets behind setting up a tax firm, understanding the strawman name, protecting your assets, and navigating the implications of the Social Security Trust Fund. Don Kilam's expertise shines through every page. It's like having a personal financial advisor by your side. Get your copy of The Capitalizing Namepreneur today and unlock the power of tax credits to enhance your financial well-being. Order your copy now and take control of your tax strategies. The Capitalizing Namepreneur, Unleashing the Power of Tax Credits by Don Kilam. Available now at leading bookstores and online. Get your copy today.
Does that make sense, everybody? So the trustee holds the power. That's why it looks like the government's in control. The trustees are the administration, the Social Security Administration. They made the government the trustees. That's the only right you have to do is to vote who gets to be your boss. That's what happens with a certificate when you understand certificates. Now, in the private, we do business at something called arm's length distance. Arm's length distance. An arm's length transaction refers to a business deal in which buyers and sellers act independently without one party influencing the other. Arm's length transactions assert that both parties act in their own self-interest and are not subject to pressure from the other party. There's none of that with the Social Security Trust. But with a private trust, we create our private trust where you can operate in almost any jurisdiction tax-free. This isn't tax evasion, this is tax avoidance. And we're using the right to contract. Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. Now, when people understand this, understand in the private, we use case law to prove our what's going on. And you can look up Gregory versus Helvery. That's one of the case laws. And this court case, it clearly establishes tax avoidance and how to establish affairs by giving up ownership, by having a superior entity. And the superior entity is always going to be that private trust or unincorporated association that we created in the private. Private always comes before the public. Think about it. You need to have your private affairs together before you even create the public. The private contracts create the public ones. My private trust says, hey, you can open up a bank account in the public. My private constitution says, hey, we can go public with this holding company. Hey, this is a banking resolution. Go open up a bank account. Here's a trust certification. Go open up a bank account. It's all going to come in the minutes, the meeting minutes. That's how you get permission. You just don't go in the bank and open up a bank account. And a lot of people don't understand that. And then it's about having the business control the assets and not you. The family. We give up our assets for the family. I get to drive the family's car. I don't own a car. I get to use the family's because I work for the family. That's a stipend or a fringe benefit of working for the family. I get paid in stipends. You know, this is a family unit. This is family business. Private law is family law. And a lot of people don't understand that. Who can get you out of jail before you was 18? So what's the age of majority? Who used to be able to come to the door, come get you out of jail? Your mom and your dad. Family law is private law. A lot of people don't understand that at all. So we create superior entities, all right? What the government does, because you do what they do. Sometimes you can mimic what they do. They create something because they're under bankruptcy. I already proved that. They're under bankruptcy. The Social Security number owns the majority of the debt of the bankruptcy. They don't teach you that in school. But they create something, they create your name into something called a special purpose vehicle. This is what your family's supposed to do, create a special purpose vehicle. Instead, they got your people out here running up the cable bill, the electric bill, and your child's name, and that's not what you're supposed to do. You create something called a special purpose vehicle. A special purpose vehicle is a subsidiary created by the parent company. The parents should create their children's name as a subsidiary. It's called a special purpose entity or special purpose vehicle. Its legal status as a separate company makes its obligations secure even if the parent company goes bankrupt. A special purpose vehicle is sometimes referred to as a bankruptcy remote entity for this reason. That's game right there. A lot of people don't understand asset-backed securities. See, if you had a bunch of different businesses with a bunch of different business names coming in and dropping deposit things in trust, you think the bank, and you're doing this in the public, you create family businesses, you think these banks are not going to offer you and extend you lines of credit and loans? Well, Article 1, Section 10, look it up. No state can interfere with a private obligation or contract. Simple as that. When it comes to identity, a family Bible record can be used as identity when you're staying private. That's the private sector, man. That's the private sector. You cannot default in the private because everything is quid pro quo. The private is based upon hard assets and credit. The public is about debt. The United States is a federal corporation under bankruptcy. The public is a debt position. Creditors can seize the assets in the public. The private keep those assets private. In the private, we have hard assets like rhodium, gold, silver. Now, and you have to understand this. There's certain gold and silver that's non-confiscatable. And you must understand how to look that up and hold that and prove that. Certain gold and silver is non-confiscatable because they labeled it as a commodity. But a private position is a superior position. A true trust will protect you from lawsuits. True trust is asset protection. It'll protect you from lawsuits. When you put your assets under the Social Security number, you could be sued for it. When you put your assets under the Social Security number, you can be sued for your assets. Your assets are made available to the public. Right or wrong, man? Let me get a 100 if I'm right. Let me know when I'm right. Let me know when I'm wrong. People are out here fighting for this birth certificate. People are out here fighting for this Social Security number. They're still identifying with this ID. They're still playing with their documents, their signs and symbols. This is what y'all are fighting for. This is what you say you want. When you put something under your Social Security number, it can be taken away from you. That's not arm's length business dealing. It's all nothing to control everything. You're not in a position of control. You're not in a position of power when you're claiming the Social Security number. So why y'all keep chasing it? Anytime you say it's yours or believe it's yours, you try to use this number incorrectly, you're in a beneficiary position. You have no power. You give up all your power. Own not to control everything. So here's what I'm telling you. Your job is, when you have a family trust, when you have family organizations together, your job is not to own the assets, it's to grow the assets. That's the number one fiduciary duty. To not own the assets, you grow the assets. Y'all got this mentality, this something for nothing mentality that's not right. That's not family business right there. That's consuming. That's being a consumer, and they got consumer law for your ass, and you'll never get ahead. You'll never get ahead because you can never be a boss. You can never be a leader. You can never build a kingdom with a consumer mentality. You can never be sovereign. Your kingdom will never be established with a consumer mentality. Think you're gonna get something for nothing. Like you got to build the foundation, baby. You got to build on solid ground, baby. You can't stack. The big bad wolf gonna come through now. He gonna huff and puff. And if you built on solid foundation, he can't blow that motherfucker down. We got the consumer mentality. We got the investor mentality. You always been the private investor. We know this. We know this. If they can calculate and make things appear a certain way that you have value, because I hear this all the time, my birth certificate's worth billions of dollars. Well, go cash that motherfucker in then. It's not yours. You understand? You don't even have the original. When you get an authenticated autograph, that's the original autograph. So why would you authenticate a certified copy of your birth certificate? Certificate means title ownership. This means they're your maker. When you take this in, that means they're your maker. United States business, baby. United States business, baby. What we just say that meant, man? United States business means a United States citizen. That means you United States business, you property. You just proved they're your maker. Same way with the title of a car. The same as the government's. You don't even have the original certificate from the manufacturer. That got destroyed. I'm just trying to draw some game, though. That's all. That's all. Hope it's making sense for you. It's not going to make sense for everybody. Everybody can't go where I'm going. The family trust, when you understand you work for the family trust, you are to grow the trust. So the family trust will pay for your private education. The family trust will invest in your private education. It's a deductible. It's a deductible. The family trust, how it invests. Invest in something called private placement accounts. Just like they do. They do public placement accounts. We do private placement offerings. These are securities released for sale only to accredited investors, such as investment banks, pensions, or mutual funds. Private placement accounts. This is what we do in the private. Everything that you're trying to do, what you're trying to learn out there, well, a lot of people trying to learn out there. All right. Private placement accounts. That's what you need to study. That's how to move private shares and private stocks of a company when they're created. Before that company, when the company grows value in the public, the stock increases, you can take those stocks to a bank and get cash value. When your business is private and you got private stocks and the company is worth something, you can take that to the bank. You can take that to private investors, private placement accounts, private shares, private stocks, and then you can use that to invest in real estate. Use that for holding companies to invest in real estate. These are investments for the family trust. You know what else is an investment for the family trust? Insurance policies are investments for every family trust. This is the stuff we talk about in private trustee training. when you tap in with your boy Don Kilam. When you come to these meetings, understand the holding company. A lot of people don't even understand the importance of a holding company. A holding company is a company whose primary business is holding and controlling interests in the securities of other companies. They can hold and control the securities without owning them. These are how you create private placement accounts. If you want to be a private placement, you want to be an investor in these things, you create a holding company. You want to invest in real estate, create a holding company. And the beneficiary can be the trust. It could be an um, offshore holding company.
We'll be back after a quick break.
In a world where borders can limit opportunities, one book dares to challenge the norm and empower foreign nationals like never before. Introducing Can't Touch This: Diplomatic Immunity as a Foreign National by best-selling author Don Kilam. Did you know there is a difference being a citizen and national? This is for foreign nationals seeking to expand their horizons. Do you dream of obtaining a diplomatic passport and the freedom it brings? Don Kilam reveals the secrets to unlocking diplomatic immunity and creating your own nation. Discover why you are already a foreign national, learn the steps to obtain a diplomatic passport, and explore how you can be recognized by numerous nations on your diplomatic journey. Most never knew they could have diplomatic immunity as a foreign national. This book is a game changer for anyone seeking freedom and recognition on the international stage. Get your copy of Can't Touch This today and embark on a journey towards diplomatic immunity and creating your own nation. Order your copy now and unlock the power of diplomatic immunity as a foreign national. Can't Touch This: Diplomatic Immunity as a Foreign National by Don Kilam. Available now at leading bookstores and online. Get your copy today.
Onshore, though, my holding companies are in Nevada, are one of the 5 charging order protection states. The reason being is because the way it's established. It's not opening up today, but there's no state income tax. See if I can open the image. Yeah, the image opened up. So no state income tax, corporate income tax, franchise tax. You can remain anonymous if you want to. You don't have to share anything with the IRS. It's always case law. Judicial system, always case law. I mean, that's in Delaware, Alaska, all of that, And that's how we moving. That's how we moving. Now, I'm giving y'all game right now. So, with the private trust investing, because you got to understand, everybody. So in the private, you're still gonna have an asset portfolio. You're gonna have a portfolio for your assets. So, in what the trust is investing in, all right, or what your trusts are investing in, or what your companies are investing in. However, you got it established, all right. So you're gonna have private placement accounts, private shares and stocks, real estate, holding companies, insurance policies, because if you work for the trust, we got to be able to replace it if you die, because you're an asset to the trust. The trust will be the beneficiary of the insurance policy. And I'm not gonna get deep. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit about key man insurance. All right, there's a lot to go over with what we're talking about, but you are the greatest asset of the family trust. You have to remember that. So if you have an insurance policy and yourself, the trust is the insurance policy beneficiary. So if you pass away, the trust can fill itself back up and have capital for the family trust and the offspring to step into a passive income situation when they can take the salary or take the money and reinvest it. Hope that makes sense. So if you pass, you have life insurance, the trust can fill itself back up and have capital for the family trust and the offspring to step into the passive income situation where they can take the salary or take the money and reinvest it. Because they're not the beneficiary. There's no families that's a beneficiary. You get to take positions. So insurance or private contracts, remember that. So private holding companies are one of the 5 charging owner protection states to hold real estate. These are considered asset classes, things to be a part of the portfolio of a family trust. Tax-free positions and grow the assets. So next, here's what a lot of people don't know. The family trust can hand down wealth through something called endowments. Tax-free. Tax-free. The average individual never even heard of endowments because they can't hand down one. Only trusts, charities, and only trusts, charities, and foundations can hand down endowments. We set up an endowment contract where the family trust gets funded forever. All right. And that's what's going on out here in the public. In the public. The Rockefellers, all these HCBUs that you think are for Black, they was funded by the Rockefellers and they're part of an endowment where the family gets paid forever. So an endowment is a gift to a nonprofit organization to be used for a specific purpose. And the term endowment is also used to refer to the total investable assets of a nonprofit institution like a university. The endowment, also known as institution principal or corpus, is used for operations or programs that are consistent with the wishes of the donor. And then they got restricted endowments. But I'm telling you, when you look it up, go look it up. Y'all can look it up yourself. Y'all Google it on your own. But there's a lot of ACBUs, ACA. Y'all know what I mean. The Black colleges. Hey, look them up and see who they was funded by. Oh, we're gonna look it up. Morehouse, Spelman, peer review, 3 HBCUs. Getting funded by Rockefeller Foundation and the Carnegie Corporation. Wow. A lot of them. Understand that. That's what's going on. It's paying their families forever. So this is why the Rockefellers are still powerful. The most popular schools were funded by them, over 35 colleges. Howard, Spelman, Morehouse. Some of the endowment contracts are funded forever in perpetuity, paying out private families who funded these schools. Perpetuity. So how can you lose? How can you lose when your family's being paid out perpetuity? How can you lose or your offspring lose when you're wealthy from an investment 3 or 4 generations ago and it's tax-free? You can't lose. So going back to their family charities. So like you're not the beneficiary, the family trust is. I hope that makes sense. I'm talking about you benefit from the jet, the Rolls Royce, the suits, trust to be trustee, meal plans, health plans. That all comes from the family trust. Private family foundations always pay out the family. Private family foundations always are the ones who pay out the family. This is the informed system. It's your private family foundation. It's a charity established just for your family. Hope that makes sense. It's a charity established just for your family because you work for the family. This is family business. All your businesses that you're creating is for the family. Don Kilam University endowments. God damn it. Uninformed families use the Social Security benefits and allow the public government to get a piece of everything, exposing the public. Y'all out here following UCC ones. How crazy does this sound to the elite? Do you think the Rockefellers are going to expose any of their assets on a UCC one? Do you think the Rothschilds are going to expose any assets on a UCC one? It's own nothing, control everything. We don't own nothing. We don't own nothing. When you filling out public forms and putting your assets and serial numbers and all that shit, it's part of the public sector now. Now the government knows about it. Endowments can be set up as a family school, a library, a hospital. Endowments are private contracts, which makes it in a superior position. $1 million worth of game for you today. If you find this information valuable, you know what to do. The Cash App is Dream Keepers Radio. Dream Keepers Radio. DreamKeepers Radio. Dream Keepers Radio. Dropping game today. Every hospital, school, library were created by endowments. You don't own the wealth any longer. You control it. Family foundations. Why will we create a family foundation, a family charity? Because charities will be around forever. Everybody's always going to need money. Everybody's going to need loans. Everybody's going to need handouts. They're around forever. Perpetuity. New word for y'all. Perpetuity. Now, when it comes to businesses and charities, there's a difference between being founded by and being funded by. I need y'all to understand this, especially when it comes to these schools, all of this. There's a difference between being funded by and being founded. Founded by and funded by, two different things. Now, when you say you hear Warren Buffett say he's giving all his money to charity, it's his charity. His children become trustees of the charity once he passes. That's why his children don't get nothing. They become trustees of the charity. Public capacities means exposure. So once your money has been taxed, it can be placed correctly as an asset. If you got money, like even when you've been working, because people say I work, when you get taxed, once it's been taxed, once it's an asset, you don't have to be taxed again. But as long as it's in your hands, you can be sued for it. Or it can become confiscated because you're a public servant. So you gotta learn how to use things correctly. Because if you're using it incorrectly, you'll be taxed again on the same money you were just taxed for. Or you could place it in a private position and not be taxed. Private families mentor each other in other private families. So you truly can't learn all this information in the public because it would not maintain full privacy. You cannot learn all this information in the public because it cannot maintain full privacy. It's that simple. And a lot of people don't understand that. So make sure you text Private Life to 480-573-4879. You do not need a private community and private. You do need a private community and private training in order to maintain full privacy. All right. Private syndicates, private tribes, private trustee training with your boy Don Kilam. Tap in. I'm telling you, I got training going on in Las Vegas. It's the end of September. You better tap in. See, the mentors I learned from, they don't speak in the public. So when you learn how to pass on your wealth tax-free, you gotta learn how to pass on your wealth to not be sued. You gotta learn how to pass your wealth on to be free from the government and not be taxed. And when you're in the public, you just tell the public you're handing down everything in charity. Just like Warren Buffett. Simple as that. Doesn't matter what charity, doesn't matter that's your family's charity, you're handing down the charity. The foundation's paying for the jet. The private family foundation. The private family foundation is paying for the clothes. It's a business trip that the private family foundation is paying for. The foundation is paying for the food. The charity is going to take care of the trustees of the charity. So that's how the wealthiest people in the world can remain tax-free. You have to learn privacy and how to keep even your name private from the government. All people in the public are controlled by their legal title, which they believe is their name. It's a legal title. And it's not an accident, it's a lifestyle. Private wealth communities are created by passing down information. All right? They don't have a work mentality. They have an entrepreneur mentality, a wealth mentality. People with the Social Security number, that's a slavery mentality. It's a work mentality. The public is used to create a slavery mindset, which is all the choice. SDK use. A lot of people try to be the trustee and the beneficiary, and that's called the doctrine of merger or the alternate ego doctrine, and that's removing your liability because everyone wants to be a consumer. Everyone wants to be wants to benefit. As a trustee, the trust owns the vehicle, so a trustee always drives the vehicle. The trustee always drives the trust. So understand the difference between public and private. The trustee drives the trust. The trustee of the Social Security number is the government. And a lot of people not understanding that. Social Security Administration, you can't be that. There's 60K by use if you try to claim anything outside of that, because you're not the government. You don't need a social to acquire EIN. I've taught that, I teach that in the school. But understand, the EIN should never come before the contract. The contract, the private agreements, the private trust, this is what creates the EIN. This is what gives permission. This is what lays down the instructions to establish the EIN. This is called form versus substance. Private trustee training. Form versus substance. This is the private trustee training term. The doctrine of substance over form is one of the IRS weapons of choice in attacking such transactions. The doctrines hold that the substance rather than the technical form of a transaction governs its tax consequences. Understand it. I dropped this game. So listen, any way they try to get your ass, I got you. Man, I do this for real. But a lot of y'all out here just talking. A lot of y'all out here just talking. The substance is what matters. People think that the paperwork don't matter. That's what matters, is a substantiating information. The minutes for the trust, the corporation, the operating agreements, the bylaws, the constitution, the banking resolutions, the everything. Everything I was just talking about earlier. Substance. Substance matters. Form versus substance. You can just create an EIN without the corporate documents from the corporate officer or the trustees. You have to have all this in place before you create an EIN. If you don't have this in place, the IRS will mess you around, substantiating evidence, especially if you're saying you're taking deductions for this or that, and it's not in the minutes. Let me know if that makes sense, because I'm trying to drop this game for y'all. Making sense, making sense. All right. So another thing we talk about in trustee training, because everybody knows about the whole life and all of that, but you can also get key person insurance or key man insurance, a life insurance policy that a company purchases on the life of an owner, a top executive, or another individual considered critical to the business. Key person insurance, key man insurance. The company is the beneficiary of the policy and pays the premium. I'm not going to get deep on that today. I just thought I'd throw it out there because I brought it up. Another thing before I close, I got a few more things to talk about too, but I had some people talking about attorneys. So you got to understand in my realm, how I move with my trust, family trust, attorneys are consultants for the trust, not the trustee. An attorney can never be a trustee on my trust. An attorney should never be a trustee in a trust. You hire the attorney doesn't hire you. So the trust hires the attorney as a consultant. The attorney is to protect an asset litigations, not to grow the trust. So they're not the trustee. Remember, we said as a trustee, you're here to not own the assets, but to grow the assets. The attorney is to protect the assets, not to grow the assets. Now that's some trustee training for your ass. You understand? Trustee training for sure, for sure. So I do want people to because I made some statements. Go ahead and look up the form, IRS Form 8863. Form 8863. This is the education tax credits. This is how you can get education tax credits for that family trust. You know, that we got tuition form. You run that like a 1099. That's a 1098-T tuition statement. That's what the school files. You can get health insurance back. You can get sick pay back. Look up Form 8962 for the health insurance, and get that back. Form 9, I want to say 9. I mean, there's a lot, man. There's a lot you can do. And I just learned from a business owner about net operating losses. Net operating losses for your business. And you can get up to as one person, you can write up to $250,000 off. You can get that credited as a tax credit or a deduction for any losses with your business. So just look up net operating losses for your business. Publication 536. So I'm learning a lot when it comes to family businesses. But everything is a write-off. You know, your rent, everything's a deduction. We ain't even gonna say write-off. Everything's a deduction, man. And that's the game. That's the family trust game, man. I just dropped it down for you real quick. You know, sponsored by Trump. You feel me? Sponsored by your boy Trump, man. You know, they got the Trump water. They got it all, man. So text private life to 480-573-4879 or click the link in the bio to join the school. But I got a private trustee training coming up September 27th and 28th. We're gonna have the event on the 27th, and we're gonna have trustee training on the 28th. You don't want to miss it, man. Tap in and tune in. You find this information valuable, leave a donation. I don't care if it's $1, I don't care if it's $5, if it's $10, whatever, man. Dream Keepers Radio, all one word, DREAM, Keepers, KEEPERS Radio, RADIO, Dream Keepers Radio on the Cash App, man. But text private line to 480-573-4879 or click the link in my Instagram bio, DON_KILAM, DON_KILAM, and sign up for the private community. Much peace and love.
Are you ready to unlock the secrets of commerce and build an empire that lasts for generations? Look no further. Introducing $1 Million Worth of Game by Don Kilam, your official guide to the private and public side of commerce. In this groundbreaking book, Don Kilam reveals the strategies and insider knowledge you need to create and protect your wealth. Learn how to navigate the intricate world of commerce, master the art of building an empire, and secure a lasting legacy for your family. Get your hands on $1 Million Worth of Game today and embark on a transformative journey toward financial abundance. Don't miss out on the opportunity to build your empire and secure a prosperous future for generations to come. Get ready to conquer the world of commerce. $1 Million Worth of Game by Don Kilam, your ultimate guide to building an empire and leaving a legacy. $1 Million Worth of Game by Don Kilam. Available now. Get your copy and start your journey to generational wealth.